Soul Society Breakdown, day 27, where we are here to talk about chapters 261 through 270 of Bleach, which Lawrence has just read for the first time. Lawrence, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, definitely fun 10 chapters to get into here. So, ready to go.
All right, let's kick things off with the volume 30 poem, For There Is No Heart Without You.
Mm-hmm.
This is a short one. That deep wound, it's like the sea's abyss. That red guilt, it's not the color of death.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like it definitely has a lot to do with the Rukia and Kayan fight. In terms of like that their whole dynamic. Yeah, so yeah, definitely see how it works thematically and definitely a touching poem.
All right, well, to recap where we last left off,
Mm-hmm.
Ichigo and Uryu had defeated their respective opponents while Chad's fight was just amping up as he discovered a new power, the left arm of the devil. What did you think of his left arm?
Yeah, Diablo. Yeah, cool. Damn, yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that panel, like with the skull, kind of. Yeah, definitely happy that my man Chad continues growing, continues getting his strength out here. He was disrespected in the Soul Society, as I've been saying for episode after episode, and finally he's getting some shine. Of course, that torch is quickly snuffed out, and I'm back on the and screw you, Kubo, for screwing my guy Chad over. But for this brief moment here, I was like, maybe my guy got some hope. Maybe he's gonna like take out some big guns.
So, yeah. I like the idea of, right arm of the giant, left arm of the devil. It's really cool. And then we get the wonderful Chad versus Nnoitra fight. What did you think of Chad versus Nnoitra?
My poor Chad, man. He can't catch a break. You think he's made this amazing breakthrough. He's going to be able to compete on level with Ichigo and Uryu, and earn his stripes. But he's got moved back to JV. He was on the varsity squad for a bit. He thought he was going to get that starting spot in the starting lineup. He was at the like the practices, trying to make the team, and he got cut at the last second, and he really got made short work of. Like it was like just like a casual stroll for the park through the park for I forgot his name already. What's this guy's name again? Yeah, but poor Chad.
It's really sad news for you, Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Chad's role of the series is to job.
To what?
To job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So whenever Chad shows up, he gets into a fight. He takes down someone just to make him look really strong, and then he gets beaten by someone else to make them look even stronger. He's definitely he jobs every fight.
Yeah, it's definitely like he's definitely like the person Kubo likes to throw out there to like show how powerful the enemy is. Like he's like, here's Chad being a foot soldier, and then he's gonna get defeated by like a high level but still somewhat like mid-level like person. That's like there's probably like 5 or 6 people stronger than whoever the person is that he gets beat by, and then it's like back to square one. So yeah,
I mean, he gets Nnoitra as number 4.
Okay, that's you know what, Chad, I'll give you that. You fought a number 4, the number 4 Espada. That is, I mean, like I think at his level, I'd say give Chad some credit. If he beats like a number 9 or number 10, I think that's like something. If he got beaten by a number 9 or a number 10, I'd be like, damn, Kubo did him dirty. But a number 4, you know what? I'm kind of like, he probably shouldn't be able to be a number 4. I mean, it's kind of disrespectful that it like took like literally 10 seconds, but
I'm just excited we got to this day because this is where things are gonna get fun again from here
yeah.
on out.
Oh no.
Because you're saying, oh, if he lost to a number 9 or number 10, well, someone else lost to a number 9. Technically, they won, but
Yeah.
barely. So my theory for Chad is that Kubo came up with the idea that he'll fight with the right arm of the giant, but then he never really thought it through. The fact that he has a character who fights with his fists in a series full of people who fight with swords. So one trend throughout the entire series is that pretty much whenever somebody shows up that is a physical fighter other than Yoriichi is pretty much one of the exceptions. They drop. They lose their fights in a pretty brutal way.
Right. But so is Chad like pretty much a meme in the Bleach community? Like, is he like?
No, I think to my knowledge, people just sort of realize that like he's useless in the main story.
He's what? He's what? Like he's what?
Kind of useless in the main story.
Oh man, poor Chad.
Yeah, I mean, he like I said, he fights with his fists in a series full of people who fight with swords when many of the fights are unintelligible in the first place. So I don't think Kubo really knew how to
utilize him,
or anybody who fights with their fists in the series. Yoriichi is the exception. There's one person later on who they give them an interesting ability, but they basically only have like one fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like abilities he probably could have given Chad if he really wanted to have him.
There's an interesting one, and probably like 200-ish chapters from now that I think is a really good idea, but it's only used for one fight.
I mean, because if you're like comparing it to like Naruto, like in like the 7 Miss Swordsman, like they're not invincible. Like Kakashi could beat Zabuza. Like there's like ways you can do it so that you like make someone that's more of like a more physical, like up close fighter, like can beat like someone with a sword. Like there's ways you can like work around that. Like I don't think it's just like completely an impossible task. If you really wanted to like give Chad more power, more agency, more like ability, I think he could do that. I mean, I feel like that's like, to like chalk it up to just purely like he didn't like feel like thinking about like a way for him to win.
I don't feel like it's that. It's like I feel like he didn't know how to write it.
He doesn't have the capacity. Like, okay, I can see what you mean, but I mean, like, you can consult people, yeah, I see what you mean. I get what you're saying though.
So I'm going to go out and say it. Actually, and this is probably a more controversial opinion. Nnoitra is actually my favorite of the Espada.
This guy?
Yeah. We can talk about it a bit more in the coming week or so.
I mean, there's more that I'll see that to make me understand that, right?
I'll explain it when we get there. We'll see him again in the coming weeks, and once we get to him a little more, I can talk a little bit more about why he's my favorite.
Is he your favorite from like a all around perspective, or like because he looks cool, or is his perspective on things interesting?
I really love his design.
Yeah,
I think both his actual physical appearance as well as his weapon are really great. I like a lot of the dialogue he gets given.
Yeah. Like, is his philosophy like interesting to you? Like what he's driven by?
I like him because he's fun to root against. He's fun to hate, and coupled with the design, like I feel like he's someone who definitely has his own personality that's very distinctive from everybody else in the Espada, as well as a lot of people in the series. And I think he's fun to hate, and so he makes me. I feel a way about the characters, which is better than feeling indifferent.
Like, is he like a Kainu in One Piece kind of, or is he like
he's you'll see.
Okay, all right.
He's so
right. Okay. Yeah.
Ukiura visits Orihime to kind of rub it in her face that Chad's Reiatsu has dwindled.
Yeah.
What did you think of this little visit here from Ukiura?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like this visit is like he's like looking for a reaction from her. He's like I think like either is one of two things. Like either him like being in a wrong car, he's like completely like inept or like doesn't really care or like has no clue about like what the typical human reaction would be, and he's just like intrigued to see how it would go. Or it's the other way around where he like knows that she's going to react a certain way and he kind of just like wants to prod and poke and like see that reaction. I think it's more of the former. I think it's more like he's in a wrong car, she's a human, and he like has like an idea of like the way things were supposed to be and like the pure logic of it all, and he's intrigued by kind of like these human emotions, and like he kind of like wants to see like how she would react to the given information. And I think also on top of that, she's kind of ultimately his responsibility to watch over. So maybe he views it as like, this is information that she would want to know. So I kind of just have to tell her it because like, she like in their kind of deal and like how it happened, like she would notice Chad's spirit energy disappearing anyway. So he's like, I might as well just engage in this conversation. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of disingenuous if I just like smooth over and be like, oh, everything's good. He kind of has to have that conversation.
I mean, he doesn't have to have the conversation, but you're mostly right, I guess. You're mostly on the money in terms of his reasoning and his interest. We'll get an explanation a little bit more of that later on.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have in terms of like if he didn't have that conversation, she would still know that Chad's spirit energy was there and disappeared. So him just like completely not acknowledging the whole entire situation would kind of come across as disingenuous. I think, don't you think? Like a little bit. Like,
what does Ulquiorra care about being disingenuous?
I don't know. He seems to have some sort of like honor about him in terms of
Ulquiorra represents something, and like once you find that out in the series, what he's meant to represent, like it informs a lot about the character.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the reveal? So Rukia senses Chad's reality disappearing. She's the closest. She tries to get to a higher point to see him, and then she's confronted by another Espada, who in his own antechamber reveals that he is Aroniero. I'm gonna have to, because that's a bad translation. His name is Aroniero Aruerie. Arruerie. Aroniero. That he is Aroniero. And when he takes off his mask, that is kind Shiva's face.
Yeah.
What did you think of this reveal?
I was like, oh shit. Okay, another Bleach twist. But yeah, I actually like this twist initially. If it was like going to be him, I was like, oh, that's actually still pretty cool. Like, and I could see how it would somewhat work a little. You're completely out.
Like, again, my thing is, I think it's ridiculous all the guilt Rukia feels over it. Like, she didn't kill him, and this is still centered around the thing of, I killed him, I killed my master.
Okay, I mean, that aspect of it in terms of the aspect that I agree with that aspect of it. Like, that's definitely like the weakest point of it is like
I'm happy after this we don't ever deal with Kaina again.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, I like it from the perspective of like this is like the person that taught her like everything she knows in terms of like being like a Soul Reaper and like in her fighting abilities and like her philosophy on life and and working within the system. Like, I like it from that perspective and her having to like encounter that and questioning whether or not like he's really turned like truly bad because of her actions. Of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, obviously, it's not him. Like, because it would be like a complete betrayal, like everything that he really stood for, seemingly, and also the fact of the whole shadow thing. I was thinking maybe it was possible that that they got like his body and then they were able to like kind of like do some sort of like Eisen trickery and like re-imbue life into it only within the shadows, and then maybe once they like got him into the sunlight, he would turn back to normal, and then he would become like a new like ally within the story. But I kind of like that they ended it here with just like him turning into the Espada, and then fighting it out from there. So I liked it from that perspective in terms of like Rukia kind of like questioning like everything that she held dear. I like it. I like that perspective of it, but I do agree the whole like I killed my master and like I feel bad about it stuff is definitely the weaker side of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I do want to congratulate you here because you guessed that Aronero would be the number 9 Espada, and you were correct.
Oh yeah.
You got it.
That guess was not arbitrary at all.
You guessed it. You was motherfucking right.
Yes.
So he sits her down, says, "Have a seat. I'm going to tell you a story." He talks about how his spirit energy flew to Huecamundo and he's been in the skies. He's actually he's got a plot to take down Aizen, and Rukia is essential to it. He says, "Come here," and he tries to gouge out her eye.
Yeah.
And he says, "It's just a test."
Mm-hmm. You fool.
We then to jump over real quick to Renji and what he's been up to, because he senses that Rukia unleashes her power. And we meet the Octava Espada, Saziel Poro. What did you think? What do you think of Saziel Poro?
He's their science man, the man, the man of science on the squad of the Espadas. So he obviously lures them to his castle or sanctuary or whatever you want to call it, basement or whatever, where you can't release your Bankai, because he knows that in like a true like head-to-head fight he would be weak against like someone as powerful as Renji, and he did it through the means of poking and prodding at his dead brother's corpse, and taking all the necessary like precautions in terms of like figuring out the trick of Renji's Bankai and Shikai, and being able to like exactly plan to like the minute detail of how to counter it and like and remove it from play pretty much. So more power to him. He's got the upper hand a little bit right now, but I imagine Renji's going to find a way to deal with this lightweight.
Yeah, so you had guessed that Saziel Poro was number 2.
Yeah.
And he's number 8.
Yep, I was off.
By 6. You fool. You thought that Saziel Poro was the second strongest of the Espada?
I thought it was like one of those things where it's like the big strong ones like are going to be the weaker ones, but because it's like all about their like harnessing of soul energy or whatever. So I thought maybe the smaller ones would have some sort of upper hand there, and shame on me.
Silly.
Yep.
So we go back to the Rukia versus Aronero fight. What do you think of the fight proper once it gets underway?
I actually like the fight. I like the fight. The way that it was kind of like a really tight back and forth brawl. You had the moment that, of course, the finishing moments where.
Hold on, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. What do you at least think of his reveal of his true form?
Yeah, it's like one of those like floating heads of from Futurama, kind of like those
yeah, sure.
Yeah, like it was like one of those things. I don't know, it was all right. Like it looked fucking creepy.
It's a fun design.
Yeah, it was fun. Like it was okay.
Yeah, Aronero also reveals his origin, that he's the only Gillian of all the Espada. While everybody else was a Vestre Lords, he was a Gillian because he had a special ability that allowed him to ingest all the powers and memories of anything he eats.
Mm-hmm.
So In many ways, he is the same Hollow that killed Kyan in the first place.
Yeah.
We then also get to see his released form, which is no less monstrous.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah, I know. Like,
this,
see,
this is
oh,
a
we're gonna
good
say,
spread. This is a good spread.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's like probably like one of my favorite spreads so far. Like for sure. Like I like the just the sheer size of that release. It's like
Yeah,
damn.
and great scope work. Great work with the scope here by
Yeah.
Kubo, and then the design overall. It's pretty clean, but it's horrifying enough. And then you've got Aronero here at the top, sort of emerging.
Right. Yeah. You know, like so far. So how many of Spada have we seen so far? We've seen the
What,
three.
in what capacity?
So fighting wise. So we've seen
Well, we've seen
uh
Grimjow fight. We've seen Yami fight. We've
mhm,
seen now Nnoitra fight just a
yeah.
teeny bit. We've seen Aronero, and we have seen uh, Celsiel Poro just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'm liking the designs and everything so far. The fights, I think all the fights have been like executed well. I think the only thing keeping it from going to that next level is like maybe they're reserving this for like the future Spada fights down the line. But like I'm not really like I feel like I'm feeling like less and less connection to like the like Espadas like in general in terms of like really caring about like their motivations or anything. They just seem like tools or puppets, kind of just like doing the will of Aizen. Like I don't know, I don't really find that particularly like interesting, like narrative wise. I mean, I like this fight with Rukia here because like it was like more about her backstory and stuff and expounding upon that. Like I found that aspect of it interesting. Um, so I'm kind of like waiting for that flip to switch where that you kind of get like the more like learning more about like why they're so beholden to Aizen, like why like are they just like or is it just like a power thing? They just like are questing for power, and Aizen's the one that's going to deliver it. Is there some sort of thing that he's doing like to help the Arankar as a people? Do they really care about their Arankar races like advancement? Is there or are they all just like selfish individuals who kind of
You get more, for the most part, from each Arnkar about what they believe in.
right? Yeah, because that's why I'm like I'm just like confused about like why they're so just like willing to just like die for Aizen. What's this
He's the
deal that they made?
strongest.
I get that, but is that like their only motivation in life is to just like serve whoever the strongest person they encounter is? Like, is
Well,
there
for
some
some,
sort of
well, then they'd be subjugated otherwise.
huh?
They'd be subjugated otherwise.
I know, but like, are they doing this like under duress or like that's what I'm saying? Like, I get that they be subjugated otherwise, but like, I haven't really seen anyone that's like an Arankar that's like, I don't like being having to like do everything Aizen says. I'd rather like do like my thing. You know, I mean, Grimjow kind of does that a little bit, but
So
like,
is Nnoitra. Nnoitra was not supposed to go and kill Chad.
huh?
Nnoitra wasn't supposed to go and, kill Chad.
Yeah, but like I don't know, but they like again, but this is all just pure like power like driven things. Like are they all kind of just driven by like this thirst for like being the biggest and the baddest in the land? Like is there someone that's like has like a more like are there like is there like a spectrum of a Rancor? Like that's what I wanted to figure out. Like or are they all just like I want to be a badass motherfucker
You'll
that just
find out.
like
You'll find
bashes
out
heads
more in
together,
time.
you know?
I,
Like Okiura is like the closest thing I've gotten to that
I'll
in terms
say
of
that
like
I'll say that there's only two people who fit that description, and you've met both of them.
gotcha.
I'd say
Because
Grimjow
like
and Nnoitra both fit that description.
right, because like the two kind of counters that I've seen to that were like um there maybe three like the or like that or like give me some hope that there's some like depth to them is like would be probably Okiura uh the one who kept calling Ichigo Nino, like he seemed to have some sort of what's his name,
Ordoni,
like Ordoni, like he
well,
seemed to
he's not
have
in the spot. He's just an iron car.
oh yeah, you're right, he's just an Iran car. True, but yeah, I'm definitely about. But he kind of like speaks for the Iran cars as a whole, though. Like, yeah, I mean, in terms of like them having like a diverting like interest in terms of like what drives them in terms of like in terms of like their ultimate like moral like beliefs and like how to live life. You know, that like there was more depth to him, I'm saying, than like this guy, like that right here. Like I mean, he kind of, this guy kind of reminds me of like the 12th Division captain a little bit in terms of like his like thirst for like you know, research. Well, no, that actually, I'm getting like all of them crossed up now. You know, because I was also thinking about the man. I'm just lost. There's a lot of names to remember, and it's late. My bad.
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember something about Aranero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Aranero, you'll find out something in probably like a week or 2 or 3 from now that will provide a lot more clarity to personalities of the Espada.
Right, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Like I'm just waiting for that kind of like that to click. I think that's like the only element missing for me is like getting to learn more about like what drives the Espadas, why they're so beholden to Aizen, besides just the pure like he's subjugating them. Do any of them feel some type of way about the whole situation as it's going down? Yeah, I would just like to know more about that for sure.
Yeah. So Rukia gets pierced by Aranero, but then she remembers there's a third dance that she was taught by, I believe, Yukatake that Kain Shiba wouldn't have known, and she uses it to kill Aranero in one hit. So I think this is where the fights get interesting, but I don't think this is like a great fight. I think tomorrow is where you start the really great fights. Like tomorrow is where I think I really start to like love this arc.
Nice. Okay, good. Good to hear. Because like I was saying, I think I'm like at the moment I'm like this is really good. I like this more than Soul Society, but I'm definitely like waiting for that flip to switch where I'm like, yeah, this is really great. Like this is amazing. Like you know, I'm waiting for that flip from like really good to great / like potentially like top tier stuff. You know?
Yeah. So everybody senses that Rukia's Ryatsu has sort of disappeared, as well as that Aranero has been defeated. The Hollows have differing reactions to this, or the Espadas have different reactions to this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ichigo, as sensing that Rukia's Ryatsu has disappeared, is confronted by Okiura. What do you think of this reunion between Ichigo and Okiura?
Okiura. Yeah. I liked it. You know, it was another check-in. Okiura is like I kind of like the Okiura like Ichigo like relationship like throughout this. Like, you know, like at first it was just like there to test him to see whether he was worth, you know, killing or trying to bring to their side or not or whatever for Aizen. But now he's like his curiosity in him is like continued, like and you know, he's been like watching him like throughout this whole thing. And of course, like during this time, he gets to see like Ichigo's new trick with the hollow, with the you turning into a hollow for, you know, 11 seconds or however long you can at this point. You know, and he seemed like kind of a little excited, but still saying like, this is nothing for me. Like it's cool that you got this little power, Ichigo, but you know, you still can't hold a candle to me. But then he saw something further that was like, oh shit, like this actually like might be like something that I should be afraid of. It seemingly, I guess.
Ichigo actually manages to overwhelm Okiura with a hollow fight, gets that Tensho, and that's where we leave off for the day. Okiura tries to block it with one hand, then realizes he has to do two, then realizes he's been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So do you have any other thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, the only other like section I want to talk about was pretty interesting was like that they showed Jin and Tosin and Wonder Weiss like watching on, and they were like, and they were pretty much like, just a conversation. It was like, oh, you keep watching this, like you're so intrigued, and then I think Jin says something about, so you like to see the good guys win too, huh? Like it was like something like that. I forgot like the exact like words, but it was like pretty much like the gist of it was like they know they're the bad guys and they're like the good guys in the traditional sense of the word. And yeah, like that kind of like fun dynamic, like I'm starting to like Jin a little bit more, like in terms of like the wisecracks he keeps throwing in there in the background, and he's just like kind of watching on in like amusement. And like he's like the kind of guy where if like they lost, it seems like he'd be like, oh, okay, like that was one of the possible results. I'm good with that.
It's late. It's almost it's 1:30 a.m. here.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next one tomorrow. You're gonna finish volume 31. Don't kill my volupture and go into volume 32. Howling.
Mm-hmm.
I really love what you're gonna be going through from here on out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There's some pretty fun reveals that you're gonna have later for this next edition to talk about. This is where I'm getting real excited for you.
All right, good to hear.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.